SIG just lobbied for immunity from all future P320 liability lawsuits, and the New Hampshire legislature granted it to them. That doesn't sound legal at all. Could sirs please explain why SIG needs legislative immunity from an issue that doesn't exist? Land of the free, my brother. Ah ha ha, good. It's SIG's world. You just live here. I just want the company name and brand permanently changed to something else. Don't give a fuck what slop they produce/grift. What stage of capitalism is it when corporations are able to purchase the legislative branch of the state? It's not capitalism. It's a mixed economy with corruption. Checked. Ask Delaware, Joe Biden, home state of all corporations. Voters are fucking retard stage. That's the most galling thing. It's not like their money does fucking anything but PR. It's not buying votes from voters, it's literally just here's shitloads of money to fund your re-election campaign or primary election campaign. If we all gave a fuck about local elections, you could probably primary out most of these reps with a few $1,000s. Tens of thousands at the most. But we won't want to tune in for debates or whatever, so lobbyists just fund for commercial spam saying your opponent is a trainee Eskimo Marxist or an anti-Semitic Pinochetist, and boom, you won because our voters are dumb. On a maybe related note, the entire San Francisco Police Department just pulled every single department-issued SIG off duty. 226s, 320s, all of them. Every single one is being replaced by the M&P 2.0s, temporarily reissuing 90s era 92 FS until delivery. Surplus 226s? Yeah, boys! Wait, I thought even current production 226s were still okay. Very libertarian, New Hampshire. Concealed carry stories. I will start. Story 1. Be me, young and dumb, carry a Walther P5 out of the waistband under winter jacket. Have a shitty holster I bought pre-assembled. Has 2 screws in vertical pattern. Go shopping at a Shields with a friend. Split up to different aisles. Walking down aisle full of people and suddenly I hear a ping on the floor. It was my top holster screw. Immediately after realizing what it was, my holster spins 180 degrees upside down. Walther P5 drops like a rock and smacks the tile floor loud as fuck. Everybody sees and hears. Deafening silence. Scoop it up like a football and stuff it in the hoodie pocket like nothing happened. Walk briskly to the bathroom. Enter handicapped stall. I didn't realize, but the lock was broken. Standing in handicapped stall with holster in one hand, handgun in the other. Stranger barges into stall and sees me holding a gun in my hand. You okay there, bud? Yes. Guy slowly backs out. Wait for a moment and then leave and beeline it to the vehicle. Friend waiting there for me wondering where I was. Never tell him out of embarrassment. Story 2. Be me about a year after story 1. Shopping at Walmart. See native mofo walking in with purple bandana looking like Prison Mike. Do some shopping and shit. Check out. As I'm walking out, I see Walmart Loss Prevention calling out Prison Mike. Apparently, he was wearing different shoes than when he walked in and didn't pay. LMFAO.jpg. Prison Mike starts threatening him. Whatever. Start walking the car and spot a classic Res Runner parked next to me with getaway driver Auntie. Filthy Chrysler 300. Oh fuck. Glance over shoulder and see Prison Mike walking behind me. Realize I'm parked next to his getaway car. Fuck. Decide not to take eyes off this young scholar. Too unstable. Not safe. He notices and starts yelling at me. What are you looking at, white boy? I got shooters. I will fucking kill you. Draw VP9 and hold below waistline in a way he can't see. Keep walking and say nothing. Realize my keys are still in my right pocket. Should have thought to take them out in advance, but it's too late now. Gun is in right hand. Prison Mike walks past his getaway car towards me, still yelling. Flash gun while reaching for keys awkwardly with left hand to right pocket. He sees it and runs back to his getaway car and they one-wheel peel out of the parking lot. Dude threatened to kill people over a pair of fake Walmart Jordans. You can probably find similar ones at a thrift store. Wife is sick and wants me to get her cold medicine at 11 p.m. Mildly drunk, but it's Birmingham, so cops have better shit to be doing than giving white people DUIs. Only thing open is Walmart in a not great area. Put gun inside pants before going in. See crackhead doing crackhead things on the way in. On the way out, falling lady with her baby in a carrier balanced on the back of the cart. Crackhead looks at her. Starts walking towards her. Says, "That's a nice baby." Holy shit, I'm gonna have to shoot some cracked out to save this baby from AIDS rape. Crackhead abruptly stops and says, I'll have to get around to making one of those soon. Have a good night. And goes back to fucking with shopping carts. I did not have to shoot the crack man and wife got her Sudafed or whatever. Micro carry. Forget there's a gun clipped to my belt. For 15 years. Wow, that shit was crazy. Keck, same. I keep my LCP in my back pocket and routinely forget about it. Head on a swivel. Never sits with back to the door. I don't even carry and I do this. Almost shot some dumbass following me in my apartment complex. After dinner, walk with wife. Going through some of the footpaths in between buildings near pool areas. Pools all have gates and fob scanners. Weird skinny dude starts following us with his head down. Wife is yapping on and on about something, blissfully unaware that some dude is following us. I pretend to listen while I keep him in my peripherals, keeping my hand on my CC in my waistband. As we approach a pool gate to cut through, he starts closing the distance. He's almost within arm's reach and I start turning my body into a better drawing position. Wife is apparently fed up with my not paying attention and says something like, "Are you even listening?" I glance back at her at the same time the sketchy dude realizes I am aware he exists and fucks off down another path. Wife kinda jumps, realizing there was a dude there the whole time. After he's out of earshot, I scold her for being blind. I successfully managed to bring a shotgun into traffic court because I had left it in my bag which had all my paperwork in it. I opened up the bag in front of the judge, lol. Everyone was cool about it because it wasn't loaded. I did get a $700 fine for wasting an hour of his time though. But the bailiffs and posted security officers got a nice fat safety memo and training seminar for that. Keck. These always crack me up. Not really gun related, but when I was a Fed in before a gay agency, I was a couple rows from the back of the plane and got something out of my just a bag, and my ASP fell out and rolled under the seat to the people behind me, who had a nice laugh when I splained. Not out carrying during this story, but had my gun with me in a hotel room. Be me in Utah looking for work. Be staying at a shitty extended stay hotel in Taylorsville next to off-ramp behind the Utah Department of Workforce Services. Chose hotel because it was cheap as fuck for 2 weeks. Find out after I arrived that people are living there like an apartment. Be chilling in the room, playing Ace Combat 7 after a long day interviewing. Hear commotion and yelling outside. Look out window and see 2 women, one white, one black, boxing in this white dude's car just in front of my room. Black female has an aluminum baseball bat out and was menacing the dude with it. White female screaming at him. Start thinking, am I about to see some dude get domed with a fucking aluminum bat? Think back to Utah's CCWL course about justified uses of deadly force in terms of stopping violent felonies. Decide whatever happens isn't really worth being my problem. Females return to their vehicles at this time. Drive through the parking lot, stop and scream at the dude one more time, then leaves. Problem solved itself. Go back to Ace Combat. Only time I ever considered I may have to use my gun. Under Utah law, I'd have been justified. It just really wasn't my problem. Wise choice. This happened to me too. In my apartment with wife. Like 3 a.m., somehow we're still awake. Hear screams out of nowhere. Young black female walking across the lot followed by black male boyfriend. She is screaming, "I'm so done!" over and over. They stop and talk for a little while. Thought it was over. She apparently gets mad again and starts walking back towards their apartment screaming again. Male walks up behind her, must have been faster than last time, grabs her around the neck with his arm like a headlock and pulls her to the ground. I rip open my window to yell something while I try to dial 911. About to go grab my shotgun under the bed and rush out there. Immediately after he pulls her down, he gets up and storms back to the apartment alone. Girl sits there, dazed for a moment. She gets up, dusts herself off, and calmly walks back to the apartment after her man. In conclusion, do not, under any circumstances, get involved in a domestic dispute. She will stand by her man in the end and blame you for anything. Bonus. After it settled down, I realized I never called 911. I'd opened my phone's calculator app and typed in 911 over and over. Wild times in our apartment complex. At night, walking with friend back from a bar. He often carries a shitty 38 special he got from his gramp. We are both mildly intoxicated, passing by an underpass on our way home. Dindu appears from around a corner as we are halfway through the underpass. He points what appears to be a Glock or some shitty Taurus pistol at us. Friend's first instinct was to slap the gun away. Dindu drops the gun in the middle of the street. Pistol goes spinning away in the middle of oncoming traffic. Then dude jumps out after it. Friend rushes me out of the underpass. Last time I saw the didn't do, he was trying to snatch the gun while dodging the cars honking at him. Get home. Get further shit-faced. Friend pukes in my bed. I eat a bag of whatever food seasoning since it was the only thing we had to eat. Sleep on the floor. Not concealed carry, but the only time I ever felt like I might have had to use a gun. Be me, live in shithole ghetto, playing video games late at night, like 1 a.m. Hear rattling and banging coming from outside. Figure it's just people arguing or messing around with their car. Look outside window. Methany is babbling to herself while trying to open my neighbor's door, and she comes over to my door and starts trying it. Grab my gun and just sit ready. Methany fucks off and starts trying the house across the street. Not very exciting, but it's the one time I've ever felt like I may have been forced to use a gun. Be at Walmart. Exit with stacked cart. Homeless Native American sees me and asks for money. I say no. I load up car. Drive to gas station right next to Walmart. Buy beer and exit to go to my car. Homeless guy followed my car on foot and is mumbling some stupid shit. Has his right hand behind him at his waist. Maybe a knife. I have my back to my car door. Dumb mistake. Never back yourself into a blockade if possible. I tell him to fuck off and he does. I had my G43X and was very close to pulling it. He was only about 3 arm lengths away from me before he fucked off. Be at home around 1 a.m. Decide to go to gas station for a snack. In living room. Decide to pet cat for like 2 minutes before leaving. Open door to leave. Meth head neighbor is at door. I back into my house and put hand on my G43X. He says he was knocking to ask me something. I forget what he wanted to ask. That is false. I was petting cat right next to the door and heard no knocking. I tell him to not do that shit and he fucks off. Be at home around 1 a.m. again. Meth head neighbor knocking at door. Do not indicate my presence at all. Just pop up with AR-15 in hallway until he leaves. I do not trust people at all. Carrying G19 illegally. CCW not legal in my country. Shitty Uncle Mike's Universal IWB holster. Go to supermarket. Bend over to reach bottom shelf. Gun plops loudly into the floor. Old woman nearby sees it and sees me put it back on. Looks at me with big surprised eyes. Tell her I'm an undercover cop. Lie. She immediately accepts it and carries on. Phew. One of the many pros of being fit and clean cut, I guess. Also, somehow, people in no-guns countries are a lot less hysterical about it. Concealed carrying. Earbuds in. Taking backpaths home. See dude and chick talking. Not my problem, .jpg. Realize she started screaming and the guy is fucking with his junk. Maybe 10 feet away. Panic. Draw my gun. Yank earbuds out. Try to shout intimidatingly. Hey, hey, hey! No response. Guy keeps going. I raise the gun and shoot it into the air. MP3. Too close to my own ear. Everybody panics. Guy trips and falls over himself and runs. Girl staring at me in fear. Realize I'm still holding the gun. Try to ask her if she's okay. MP3. Can't hear anything she's saying. Spurg out and panic that the cops might be coming. Run home. I'm a hero. I still can't believe I fucked up that badly. Be me, college student. Live in a house with 8 other guys because poor. Come home after daily events. Carrying, obviously. Pick related plus jacket. Glock 26 plus 132 round big stick and pick related because the pocket was deep enough to hold it. And I thought, haha, funny. Housemates playing beer pong and invite me to play. Knock back some shots, waiting for a spot to open. Night goes on. Forget I'm carrying. More people show up. Maybe 20 in eyesight/earshot. Go to catch the ping pong ball and crash. 32 round big stick falls out onto the floor. Hey man, are you carrying right now? Yeah. Pick up big stick, put it back in pocket, immediately walk to my room, lock the door until the next morning. Turns out, used up Velcro is not good for gun retention. Okay, another story then. Out in a woods, northern Mittenland. Carrying in Miami Classic 2, Glock, plus 2 spare mags. Wearing a jacket because cold. Start to drive towards town to refill on gas and drive home. I've been moving and the day is warmed up. AC is broken in the car, so I take off my jacket. Stop by in town to fill up on gas and buy an energy drink. Walk in, make my purchase, walk out. Get a weird look from some tourists using the other pump, but I give a polite wave and nod. Pump my gas and they drive off. Open the door of the car. See my jacket. Realize I've been open carrying accidentally for the past 5 minutes. On one hand, you want your gear to be comfortable, but on the other, if it's so comfortable you forget about it, you can quite easily embarrass yourself. Be me, in college, at Buddy's apartment. Carrying at the time, a bunch of friends as well as some randoms come over for a big party. All sitting around a big pool table playing pool and watching He-Man in the background. My friend and another guy are playing pool. Allegedly, my friend and the other guy were into the same gal, or my friend stole his gal or something like that. Friend wins the pool game and makes some sort of backhanded remark which I didn't hear because of the noise from drunks talking. Pool opponent absolutely loses it and throws pool stick like a javelin at my friend. Hits him in the chest, but it was just a pool stick, so he brushes it off. The room goes wild. What the fuck? Opponent grabs a pool ball and throws it at my friend. He drops to a knee and dodges it and hides underneath the end of the table. Opponent grabs another ball and starts making his way around the table for better line of sight. Friend had pulled out a .38 snub, I don't know what kind, out of his jacket pocket and fires one round. Hits him in his right side. Falls to the floor and then gets up and runs outside with everybody else who is evacuating the studio apartment through a single door at this point. Collapses in the front yard and ambulances come and get him. He ends up being aight, but his ribs are jelly. Friend spent one night in jail and was released on bond by his dad. I was carrying at the time but was too stunned and it happened in seconds. Plus it wasn't happening to me, so I just watched. Plus I was holding a banquet and would have had to put it down to draw. I had a schizo roommate once, which is an interesting story. Be me. Have say in your college roommate. Not my first choice, never really talked to the guy. Keep some bacon in the freezer at all times. Laying in bed working on something on my laptop. Roommate walks in and stands at the foot of my bed. Points to my motorcycle helmet. You just gonna leave it there like that? He says. What? I want you to know that I know what you're doing, he says. I know you've been recording me in my sleep. You have a camera in your motorcycle helmet that you set on your dresser pointed at my bed. Only camera I have is on my phone. Don't even have one on my laptop. And I sure as hell never had one on my helmet. False. He tells me he has seen it. He goes to grab it and I tell him not to lay his paws on my shit. He tells me he knows I have hidden cameras around the room I used to record him sleeping. He tells me he knows that I have been stealing from him. Apparently I'm stealing his dish soap, bananas, etc. Random shit nobody would steal, or if you did, nobody would care. Tells me he would never deny me of anything. Tell him he's mistaken and or lying. He gets upset and becomes very aggressive. Slowly getting closer as he rants on and on about how I'm out to get him or something. Set my laptop to the side. While still laying down, I reach my hand into my right jacket pocket and grip my snub nose and point it directly at him. Tell him to back the fuck off. Leave the room. Never spend another night there. Sleep on friend's couch. Pack my shit up the next day. Living out of my truck and then an extended stay hotel for a week or two until I find a new place. I just realized how this Paul Harrell meme nearly became one of the most practical informational videos of my life. Never spend another night there. You did good. Said schizo saying would have cut your throat in your sleep in some delirium trance, 100%, and gotten away with it. Not concealed carry, but still an exciting night. April 2020, drinking beers and playing guitar on my porch at 4 a.m. Notice headlights coming down the road. Very odd since it's 4 a.m. and COVID lockdowns just started. Headlights turn onto the service road on the edge of my property, maybe 50 yards away. DEFCON 1.tiff. Dart inside, lickety-split, kill all the lights inside, grab a mag and load my wasser. Sober up very quickly to the sound of the bolt slamming home. Peek through my blinds. Can see the parked car near the edge of my property. Nobody seems to be in it. Wait about 10 minutes. Felt like several years, before finally mustering the courage to check it out. Had an incident a few months prior where a couple pulled into the same road looking for some privacy. Figured it was probably harmless. Flip my Makarov in my pocket just in case. Get to car. It's empty. Record the make and model. Then something compels me to just sit down near it and wait. Few minutes later, Cletus McMethpipe appears, wheeling the rototiller from my shed over the bridge towards his shitbox. He doesn't notice me. Let him get within 20 feet before I light him up with my flashlight. We exchange greetings. I ask what he's doing. Says he pulled the rototiller out of the creek. I ask him if he realized he's on private property. Responds with an unconvincing no. Bubba T. Copperfiend pops up from behind a bush. He'd been hiding there the whole time somehow. DEFCON 0. Appalachia's finest have me outnumbered now. tactically shed a cinder block. In the sternest voice I can muster, tell them they need to leave right now. They let go of my stuff, very carefully walk towards their car, and peel out remarkably quickly. I had a death grip on my Mac in my jacket pocket the whole time. I still wonder if they could tell I had a gun, and if that's why they complied. Sitting in computer lab, empty, kinda late. Forgot I was carrying. It was a long day. Sniffed a bit. Oh damn, I'm carrying. Hope campus police don't stop me. Oh well, I'll just tell them what's what. Keep working. Ass and hips start to hurt because shitty computer lab chairs. Shift my shit. Negligently discharge into the fucking floor. Oh damn, oh fuck, oh damn. I'm logged in on this computer. Oh no, what do I do? Take my pocket knife, cut a hole out of another piece of carpet elsewhere and try to adhere it to the hole with gum. Oh shit, this isn't going to work, jeez. Type out of order and tape it onto the monitor and shut down the PC. Strategically place the chair on the patch. Carpet ended up getting replaced like 2 weeks later. Nobody ever asked questions. Verification not requested. Not concealed carry, but whatever. Live in basement apartment in Houston. New neighbors move in. Like college kids, I know, right? Late evening, I hear something outside my back door trying to get in. Oh shit, it's time. Hear black voices outside arguing. They're trying to open my door. Grab my Garand. Slide in a clip. Wearing only underwear. Go to the door with a rifle in hand and yell, "What the fuck do you want?" They go silent. Oh, my bad. I open my rear door, jump back, point rifle at 2 young kids. The woman screams. The dude takes 2 steps back. Oh, my bad. We thought this was the laundry room. It's the next door. Close the door. Stand there and unload each round. Cling! Make sure they hear it. I didn't speak to them much after. They moved out when their lease was up. Be me! 21, back home from college for the summer before my senior year. Got my ITC because I grew up in Houston, Texas. And you can carry on my college campus if you have one, which my buddies and I did daily. You can probably figure out where I graduated from. Girlfriend's parents asked if I could pick up some takeout from a really good restaurant that's in a hood part town. Was just at the country club golfing, so I look like a fucking frat dude. Golf attire, nice watch, massive gold class ring, etc. Get to restaurant and had to park 200 yards away because dinner time and it's packed. Walking through parking lot and notice a following me. See him getting closer and closer and fumbling with his waistline as I'm glancing back in the reflection of the restaurant glass. Pick up my stride and he follows. Happening.jpg. Get right out in front of the restaurant door and he's about 20 feet away, locked in on me. Turn around and draw my P226 and get a good sight picture on this monkey. Back off, motherfucker. Dude looks stunned that I'm carrying. Sheet, man, I didn't mean nothing. Scampers off. Reholster and into the restaurant. Chinese manager that saw the whole thing asks if I'm okay. Say I'm fine and he gives me a couple extra fortune cookies. Make it back to GF family house and enjoy some bomb-ass orange chicken. Thankfully, that encounter did not result in a shootout. I've only had to brandish prior to and after that a handful of times. I got one for you. Be me, 26-year-old college student on GI Bill. Live in townhouse in a smaller town. Around Christmas time, went out to see girlfriend's family, but I came back early because of work. Watching movies at the house one evening, 11 or so at night. Decide to walk to the small local convenience store to pick up beers. Put on jacket and bring my PO1 with me. Walk to store. Beers acquired. Random tall, skinny, white kid wearing clothes way out of season. Shitty gym shorts and a t-shirt. It's fucking December out. Whatever, he's probably just buying cigs. Start to walk home. Notice he follows me down the road. The middle part of the way home is a park with a path between some ponds. As soon as I get into the park, I hear him yelling. Turn around. Say, "What's up, bro?" Think maybe I forgot something at the store. He's speed walking up to me with his fists in his pocket and going, "What you got? What you got?" over and over. Kinda stunned. Kid is like 135 pounds soaking wet. I'm around 185 at the time. I stare at him like I'm an idiot. Draw my PO1 and hold it by my side. He instantly turns around and walks back the way he came, looking at me the whole time but saying nothing. I get home. As I lock the door, I see him a ways off looking at my townhouse. Report to the cops. They're basically just like, if you see him again, call us. That's all I've got to show for about 17 years of carrying, Lamau. Pick related, the PO1. Didn't have a light at the time. Be me, tier 1 operator that looks like the embodiment of a Chad. Make my way through the grocery store. Suddenly, I spot a gaggle of 9 out of 10 women with supple asses and perfect tits staring in my direction. Here we go again, .jpg, .gif, .webm, .exe. My manly essence is making them feral. I see them start coming at me with increasing speed. Before I can even unholster my clapped-out Beretta with classy wood grips, they surround me. I'm forced to have sex with all of them, despite being tired from my earlier threesome with Nubian queens. I need to work on my draw. The only time I've really considered drawing. Be me, 23 years old, carrying an IWI Jericho to Publix for a sub. Exit the store and start walking to my car. Parking lot is mostly empty, one crackhead-looking dude about 50 yards away pacing back and forth. Try not to stare at him and gain his attention. Druggies being paranoid. Once I get to the door, I look up to check on him again, and this fucker is staring at me and just pointing directly at me with one arm extended all the way out. Too far away, I could not for the life of me tell if he was pointing a gun at me. Sit in car, leave door open, hand on gun, ready to draw. In this scenario, I can either wait for him to possibly try to shoot me for no reason while just sitting there, or duck down behind my car like a weirdo until I figure out if it's a gun or not. He loses interest and walks away. First time I got an adrenaline rush and committed to myself, this might be the day you have to shoot a motherfucker. Get ready. I don't think I overreacted. 4 people were shot at a fucking Walgreens a few miles from my house like a week ago. Conscription in the Middle Ages. How did conscription work back in the Middle Ages? I imagine it wasn't horribly different, but how'd they deal with most peasant conscripts not having any real weapons or armor? Would lords spend some money to arm them with spears and stuff, or no? Bloodiest wars imaginable. Warm take, but the high medieval period was unironically the least barbaric era of history. Wars weren't frequent, but relatively small and brief, and the nobility heavily involved themselves instead of leaving the peasantry to do all the dying for them. Compared to much larger scale wars of antiquity, or absurdly violent religious wars of the early modern period, or the total wars and civilian bombings of the 20th century, or wars that drag on forever despite zero popular support in the 21st century. There's really nothing especially cruel about what was going on in medieval times. But the high medieval period was unironically the least barbaric era of history? This is one of those contrarian viewpoints that people come up with to reframe a time in history and sound knowledgeable about the subject, but it's totally wrong. Peasants have basically always been fair game and easy pickings for molestation and murder, whether by invading armies or by rival landowners. Most knights were anything but chivalrous. The majority of them were entitled and oftentimes psychotic rich kids. You didn't really have conscription in the Middle Ages. The social contract was that if you were a free man, you bought some military equipment and might be called up to fight by your king. If you were a nobleman, you were basically a professional soldier by definition and spent your early life training to fight a war. You didn't really have conscription in the Middle Ages? Virtually everyone was conscripted in the Middle Ages. It was part of the citizenship contract, so to speak. The real difference is what you were conscripted to do, i.e. conscripted to farm or build or chop wood, perhaps. You can call that mere taxes, and you would be partially correct, but the difference is that today we pay taxes out of whatever we earn from whatever we choose to do. Whereas in those days, the Lord ordered you to do it, and you bloody well did it. If you were a free man, that's a massive if. In England and France, our benchmark for the Middle Ages, 50 to 80% of the population were villeins, not freedmen. This number goes further up the farther east you go. There was always a shortage of coin in medieval Europe. There simply wasn't enough gold and silver to mint enough coins. Since there wasn't enough coins to meet the demand for money, the rich and powerful would hoard it. This creates a problem for the common man. How do you save when you can't get your hands on enough coins to do so? The answer, bartering and buying items of relatively fixed value that can be easily sold, pawned, or bartered. As a result, every free man and serf that could afford it would start buying arms and armor. Never a full suit of it, or with necessarily the goal to use it, but just because a helm is a helm and its price is rather fixed because in 10 years, it will still take as much iron to make and as much time for a smith to hammer out. As such, a levies would be armed and armored in a hodgepodge. Villages would also help equip a man that has to do his feudal duty or goes off as a mercenary. A dead man can't help take in the harvest. In a way, the common man collected arms and armor as the nobility collected land. High opportunistic, no overreaching vision or goal, and an ensemble of clashing styles. In a way, the common man collected arms and armor as the nobility collected land. Highly opportunistic, no overreaching vision or goal, and an ensemble of clashing styles. Bullshit. There were very clearly requirements of arms and armor in many areas. Moreover, every free layman who possesses chattels and rents to the value of 16M shall have a shirt of mail, a helmet, a shield, and a lance. And every free layman possessing chattels or rents to the value of 10M shall have a hauberk, an iron cap, and a lance. All burgesses and the whole community of freemen shall have a gambeson, an iron cap, and a lance. A size of arms of England, 1181. This is the law. He who has 12 pounds worth of land shall have spear and shield for the defense of the people, or pay it with 2 pounds. This is the law. He who has less shall have quiver and bow for the defense of his people, or pay it with 2 pounds. Frisian law, dated 1100. The man who owns 6 weighted marks except his clothes, he shall own a red shield with a double-sided iron rim, and spear and sword, or half-thinned axe. And every shield maker shall on the shields he make have a mark that is approved on the thing, so you can know who made it, if there is found cheating in it. But if some does not have, then the shields are confiscatable by the king's hand. But every young man and those men who owns less than now is said, each of these shall own a shield and spear or sword or axe. But broad axes are good, and half-thinned axes, who is well hafted, and those spears that are dependably hafted and equipped with 2 nails, or at least one who goes straight and is riveted in both ends. Good shall for these men wooden shields be, when 3 iron bars lay across it, and there is 3 grips on the inside, who is well riveted. But when a working man takes his first service for full wages, then he shall the first summer buy an axe, the second a shield, and the third a spear. Land Law of Norway, 1274. How did conscription work back in the Middle Ages? Lords give their vassals an order to join up, simple as. This applies to both peasants and knights. I imagine it wasn't horribly different. In some ways it was. For example, imagine if 50 to 80% of everyone you know is a government worker and must do militia training every week. Quite different from the post-Renaissance private sector-driven society. But how did they deal with most peasant conscripts not having any real weapons or armor? The lords would usually call up enough people they could arm. Like, oh, we have 10 spears and boiled leather jerkins. Call up 10 of the best fighters in the village, and maybe 30 more idiots to fetch and carry. Would lords spend some money to arm them with spears and stuff, or no? Absolutely, yes. So what military tech did they get right and wrong? Some right, mostly wrong. Like the tech they depicted correctly was shit that already existed, practically verbatim, while the speculative shit is all nonsense. They were kinda right with drones and social media. They got the takeover of drones and influencers, but wrong on the drones being controlled globally by vulnerable universal AI grid. Still, from what I heard about Ukrainian drone attacks, some of those drones were operated via AI. LSAT is kill, FNP-45 is kill, Ballista is kill, Comanche still kill, Type 25, nope, AR supremacy, M8A1, nope, Executioner, never made it to mass production. Considering Taurus, this is probably a good thing. AN-94, effectively all but vaporwave. 5.7, niche pistol then, niche pistol now. Vector, somehow almost feels outdated. Scar H, still around I guess. SMR, think of this, but with even more recoil and added weight penalty, and it breaks after 10 matches. Now you have the M7. M27, still around and has proliferated. MSMC, SAR has done the needful. At least Keltec is still in use. Shame that no cloaking devices were developed. Some stuff was intentionally more sci-fi than real. The M8A1, for example, wouldn't happen because that program didn't work out for years before Black Ops 2 was a thing. It's a funny thing like how AN-94s still show up every now and then in games in much greater capacity than real life long after it didn't replace the 74M. I mean, they got the broad strokes right, but totally missed on the details. The AN-94 and M8A1 were my favorite guns in that. Too bad I'll never get them IRL. What's even the fucking point? US versus China over rare earth minerals, conflict in Yemen, real-life Menendez. It's weirdly accurate in some non-military ways. One funny thing is if you fail to save Chloe the first time but then do the Strike Force mission, while she's being freed, she will ask for a gun and your soldier will hand her a 1911. In 2025, random SEAL Team 6 members still carry a John Browning classic, and moreover, they carry an 80s variant and not a modern version. Fudd lore. Let's hear 'em. Be me. Go to Rural Missouri Gun Show. CM1 carbine. It's a replica. Price tag $1,300. If you carry red dot and extended magazines, the prosecutor and DA office will go after you. I have heard this 3 different times from Revolver Fuds. This has gotta be somebody mishearing something along the lines of, red dot plus extended mags looks way worse in court than a revolver. This isn't really FUD lore. Unfortunately, this is flat out Doomer/Zoomy lore too at this point. We've seen plenty of threads on K in the last few years full of in-ons insisting that if you have anything modern on your gun in home defense that, against all law/case law and evidence, you will definitely be prosecuted. Fish fags almost inevitably make an appearance too, since it's like the only even vaguely self-defense related case anyone can find in 20 plus years. Never mind that he won and the circumstances were incredibly specific and had nothing to do with his gun either. I daily carry a Colt Series 70. Literally me. I'm a cop and I wear Hawaiians every single day. It pays to have a decent chief that doesn't care if I get results. Oh my god, look at your gun. It's got so many doodads and gadgets and colors. Yes, that's how I like it. But that statistically doesn't help your case against a jury. It's a good thing I will literally never use my gun in a crime then. But what if you shoot a black... If I shoot someone, it will be because I need to. It will not be a crime. I will never use my gun in a crime. Carrying in condition 1? That just ain't safe, sonny. Just rack in on the way up when you draw. I carry because of shitballs. I don't think I'm gonna get that opportunity if one manages to latch onto my arm. At gun show, where else? One of the booths is nothing but shotguns. Tactical shockwaves and the like with foregrips or that crazy chainsaw handle pump. Check sights on one of the more normal ones. There's no sight, no bead dot, nothing. How do you aim this thing? You don't, sonny. Wherever you point that there flashlight on the end, that's where the shot is gonna go. It'd be my luck I'd try some shit like that and the buckshot just goes into the nearest wall. It's not like a bead dot would obstruct anything. Go to sell Grandpa's 1100 at a gun show. Get lowballed at a couple tables. Fair price, but not enough room for me to make a deal. Fair enough, have a good one. Look at some classic revolvers when a boomer next to me sees it and starts telling me about how he regrets ever selling his and asks me how much. It's yours for $1,000 cash or transfer. I'll give you $750. No thanks, I'm pretty firm on the price, but I don't really need to sell it and it's fair for the condition. Okay, I'll give you $1,000, but I want to make sure it works. You can disassemble it and inspect the parts. Only real way to check is I'm not taking you to the range. Why would I buy something I don't know for sure works? How many sellers here are going to let you shoot any of their guns? $900 then. $1,000 firm. Starting to get annoyed. Fine, I'll write you a check, but don't deposit it until no checks, cash, or transfer. What about a cashier's check? No. Cashier's checks are as good as cash. They were 20 years ago. Now I can print one off the internet and have to wait for the funds even if it's real. Cash or transfer. You know, people used to do business. People used to wipe their asses with corn cobs. If you don't want to transfer, you can pay cash and I'm done with this discussion. I can meet you at any ATM you want if it's an inconvenience. I don't use a debit card because I don't trust technology and the government tracks your... Sir, we're done here. Have a nice day. Sold it same day to another guy that brought his German short hair and gave her some jerky. Gun buyer's remorse. Have you ever had buyer's remorse for a gun? What was it? Why did you buy it? And why did you change your mind? For me, it was a Diamondback DB9. A piece of shit little 9mm that I convinced myself would be okay as a pocket gun, but very quickly traded in for something nicer a week later. I paid $276 for it. A friend of mine talked me into buying a Canik TP9 when they first came out because my striker fired. I didn't know fuck all about them except they were SIG clones. Had it for a month. Put about 400 rounds through it and regretted it the entire time. Sold it and bought an M9 that was on sale. That was a few years ago and the M9 has since cured my remorse. 2 rigs I've walked into have each had a TP9 SFX and they caught my eye as far as a feature-rich striker-fired 9 in my budget. I never could put my finger on it honestly. It shot well, the trigger was light, it jammed a couple times in the first 20 or so rounds, but after that it ran fine. I CC'd it the entire time I had it, and it was bulky but no worse than an M88A TOC I carried before that. It's weird, I know, but I never could bring myself to like it, and to this day I don't know why. Yeah, accidentally got the new Henry Supreme in 300 Blackout, wanted 223. Proverb, looks good, flies good, applies to guns too. Didn't look good, didn't shoot good. 300 Blackout is an okay as thumb, master of none meme. Also, fuckguns.com. This absolute piece of shit. dicked over by both car group and the c***s. Slide locking lugs inside the slider almost sheared down after less than 2,000 rounds through it. Pistol consistently groups 8 inches low until getting aftermarket sights. Dog shit finish and fitment. Weak metal is used. Its only purpose nowadays is my proof gun for load testing new 9mm recipes. Get a proper Jericho, don't buy the car bull armory nonsense. Bought like 3 different rifles that I fired once and then never again. Traded them all away for more fun guns. Main issue was ammo availability. 2 of them were 30-06 and the other was a Turkish Mauser missing a shit ton of parts that I needed to buy ammo online for. And by availability I mean expensive. I was in high school at the time and had to beg my parents to buy me that shit. And like hell they wanted to spend $30 on a box of 20 cartridges for me. They weren't interested in guns like I am. Haven't bought much new, mostly, oh god, why did I buy this used gun, mostly 22s, thinking I could fix/restore it in the times of overpriced $50 to $100 firing pins for an $85 to $150 22, and unobtainium gun parts. PTR 9C. I don't regret it necessarily, I just wish I had spent the extra cash on the SP5, because what's another grand really? M1A, the only gun purchase I actually regret. I wanted to like it. I wanted it to be a good gun. The more I shot it, the more I hated it until I couldn't stand the sight of the thing anymore. It's currently on consignment at an LGS. I hate the ergos. I hate how ammo picky it is. It's too goddamn heavy for what it is. If you disassemble it, you lose 0. You need specialized tools to maintain and clean it. The magazines are finicky as fuck about insertion and removal. God fucking forbid you have to take the bolt apart for any reason. Special tool to put it back together. God fucking forbid you either under-lube or over-lube it, because both will lead to malfunctions. Absolutely fucking garbage rod. Yes, I'm using the first image that came up on Google search because I never took pictures of mine, and if I did, I would have deleted them by now to try and forget. I've heard a lot of guys felt that way. Huge fucking shame because look at it. That's a good looking rifle. Yep, as bad as it pains me to say, my M1A is one of my biggest regret purchases even though it was one of my grail rifles. Bought it to configure as a semi-DMR type rifle. Lucky to hit 3 to 4 MOA at 100 yards even with top tier ammo. Too long to be a siffy battle rifle, but too inaccurate to be a long-range DMR. Using a bipod literally hurts the accuracy. $200 in aluminum just to mount a scope. Heavy as fuck. Ammo other than M80 ball is expensive. I'm nearly $2,000 in and it gets mogged by AR-10s that cost half as much. Really, at this point, the only thing I love about it is that it looks cool. Beyond that, I just kind of feel disappointed every time I shoot past 100 yards. You have to do way too much to these things to get them as accurate as a $400 AR. Boring story, but when I was younger, I got enamored with the idea of a do-everything gun, where I'd save money and have enhanced capability, with a 0 to 800 yard all-in-one, and I'd gotten to the point in my career where I had no debt, was making plenty, and could certainly afford whatever. So I put together a tricked-out 308 battle rifle AR-10 and crammed on all the fixings. Fancy LPVO, WML, rangefinder, put on one of the nicer suppressors, even one of those silly BLK LBL, bipod integrated handguards. And I mean, the end result shot fine, and for a few weeks it was neat and new. But holy shit, was that thing an absolute pig. IIRC, it came out to over 13 fucking pounds. And ultimately, I just ended up leaving it in the closet more and more. It just wasn't fun. So like I said, boring because I became a young man. 038 to relearn the ancient jack of all trades, master of none. It was a fine gun, yet not really enjoyable at short range, and it was both less fun and still significantly worse performing than a proper decent bolt at long range. Having 2 to 3 guns built for what I actually wanted has proved far better in the end. And since I had gone Gucci, because since I'm only getting the one gun, I'm still saving money with nicer stuff versus multiple. Like a retard, it wasn't even a money saver. You can do a super fun, solid 1,000 yard Tekka T3X setup for like $1,200. Or at least could last a year. Literally less than I paid for the LPVO. Oh well. TP9SFX. By all accounts, it's a good pistol and it punches above its weight class price-wise. The trigger is great, it is exceptionally accurate, but it's just soulless. Yeah, it's a polymer striker-fired Walter clone. Of course it's soulless, right? But it's more than that, and I can't really explain it. Yeah, it's sloppy and loose, looks like a Nerf gun, but function-wise, it's great. It never malfunctioned on me, and I shoot great with it. but it never leaves the safe anymore, and it's not worth enough to motivate me to get rid of it. So it remains as a reminder that every time I get the urge to buy a gun I don't need, just to buy ammo instead. Oh yeah, brand new Glock 45 MOS factory threaded barrel. Barrel rusted after 300 rounds. 1 year waiting for a free barrel exchange. This one is not OEM. Plus too much money spent on dressing it and it still lacks soul. Brand new 22 Ruger American Rim Rifle. Didn't notice it was $250 gun sold for $700 in my country. Brand new Ruger Mark IV 22-45 Tactical. The lower is plastic and the finish is weak. Used Winchester 1300 with Hogue Furnitures. During coup for $700, vastly overpriced. I have a hard time selling it now. Used Winchester 1300 with wood. After coup for $400. Just rage bait clicked myself. Okay, price here. If only it was the only one. Or a Moss 500. Used Glock 43. 6-round mags are lame even for $400. The tech is far too outdated. So, if I could start again, I'd just go, used basic bitch G17-4 with steel sights. Used basic bitch G26-4 with steel sights. Ruger Mark IV Tactical with metal lower. 22 Tikka T1X. A single 14-inch barrel, $400 max, $1,300 or $500 or $870. The rest of my money on any high-tier AR. By the way, guns I don't regret, a used USP-9 Tactical, a brand new 24-inch Fabar Marshall. I've never regretted a gun purchase. Luckily, I figured out that quality over quantity before I got into guns, so I never fell in the trap of buying some cheap POS and being disappointed by it. Though there have been several purchases I regret passing on. It's kind of funny. Teddy Roosevelt won, and modern Marlin 336s and their clones are mostly made to his specs. Pistol grip stocks, shotgun butt, peep sights. He had tang sights, though his 1895 had receiver-mounted peeps. All that's missing would be fancy wood and engravings, and he usually had a 24-inch or longer barrel, half octagonal with a half-length mag, but it looks like 20-inch full-length mag won. I think the long barrel half mag thing was mostly due to black powder, which isn't an issue anymore. Such a beautiful rifle ruined by a Picatinny rail. More like an ugly rifle made even uglier by the rail. What, not enough Punisher logos for you? I can't speak for that Anon, but no, it's the opposite problem. It needs real wood, actual hand-cut checkering. The recoil pad needs to be properly cut at the toe of the stock. The lever needs to be rounded off a bit more. And a blued finish instead of stainless. Though I won't argue about the practicality of the stainless finish in laminated stock. It might not look anything special, but it will last in the weather. Plus, he used a suppressor. The stainless and laminate are functional, but they look like ass. Sears had it right. Blued and basic walnut 336. Hand checkering is for rich fags. Stainless and laminate look good actually. All the Henry 3030s, which look like ass compared to the Marlins, have straight stocks for some reason. Made weirder by the fact that 45-70 mean guns and the gay tactical plastic 3030 and 360 buckbreaker both have pistol grip stocks. Teddy Roosevelt, libtard, lever action, based, Picatinny, waste. Why not just have scope rings? Laminate, microplastics turning the frogs homosexual. Libtard. Teddy was a gun-owning Republican who hated socialism. Well-designed lever action, ruined by large loop. Every time. I do hate the boomer loop as well. $20 for 1 hour before the $300 in ammo you're about to shoot. Range maxes out at 75 feet, 25 meters. Always hot as shit year-round. Concrete walls to maximize hearing damage. Even with 34 decibels, most hearing protection won't be this good either. Of noise reduction, the setup on the range will still cause hearing damage. James will bring his 454 and 308 battle rifle to the indoor range to make it worse. One of 3 gun ranges within 40 miles, so it's always packed with retards. Single lanes, nothing moving. How would you like to shoot the same paper target another 300 times? Any time spent loading magazines, or if you just got a new gun, breaking it in, cuts into precious range time. No steel case, no steel tip. Range officer gets on you if you rapid fire beyond 12 feet. Only 1 or 2 outdoor gun ranges under 50 miles. Both are slow fire only, change targets every 30 minutes, only open half the year. Would be easier to level the Middle East than trying to find a private place to shoot steel or anything other than the same paper target at 7 meters. Hours that the range is open requires you to take time off from work to get there. I get 30 days a year off, which is generous, but still not enough with other hobbies. Ammo price literally dictated by the fifis of schizophrenics. I'm beginning to think that you're better off finding out if you're allowed to have guns as a hobby based on where you live rather than trying to have shooting as a hobby. That's on you, Negative Nancy. Indoor ranges are great for particular reasons. Shooting pistols at adjustable pistol distances. Can quickly check your target and send out new ones without having to wait for ceasefire. Not hot because they have huge air conditioners running to keep ventilation up to code. Noise isn't that bad, just double up. Reloading mags because yeah, no shit, you have to reload mags anywhere. It's not a range issue. Range hours are inconvenient with work hours? Get a better job, Wagey. The squishy's in a headset, nice and comfy. If that's still a problem, move to a better state. Not filling a box with rubber mulch in your basement and letting 1 or 2 rounds off whenever you feel like it. But in all seriousness, I hate it here. At least the range has good ventilation and AC. Guy next to you firing his 12 gauge with a muzzle brake. You can feel it in your bones. Plugs and cans. Plugs and cans. I don't understand why you crybabies who think one set of hearing protection is supposed to save you from a 50 going off next to your head. James will bring his 454 and 308 barrel rifle to the indoor range to make it worse. Boy, do I have a story for you. Live in Vegas. Indoor range is always full of colorful characters. Shooting in the right lane. Asian tattoo bro comes in with his festival cosplay girlfriend. Pulls out a Scar 17 for his girlfriend to shoot while he is taking pictures of her. She turns muzzle 90 degrees. Range rule is always pointing downrange. And sweeps legs of her boyfriend posing for pictures. RSO opens door and firmly says, firearms must be pointed downrange at all time. Instead of just turning around and pointing downrange, she freezes and panics for no reason. RSO repeats himself again. Firearms must be pointed downrange at all times. Completely throws her hands up like she's playing hot potato and drops the Scar right on the concrete. Asian bro immediately starts bitching at her. She cries. They leave. Still can hear the sound of that Scar slapping concrete. EOTech first, Lamau. EOTech first. Oof. I have a funny hearing story too. At outdoor ranges. Booth next to me is a dad and a teenage daughter. Looks like both are inexperienced and basically learning together with no experienced shooter to help. Oh boy. They do alright with the pistol they brought. Only real complaint was that they were both teacupping hard. Ceasefire ends. I had a speed loader for my GP100 ready, so I loaded and cocked in just a second or two. Out of the corner of my eye, I see they both still have their ear pro on the top of their heads. Not over their ears. Decide to give them another few seconds, being I give them permanent ear damage with my Magnum. Someone else shoots at a booth way down the line. Scares the shit out of them and they quickly put their ear pro back on. If it was anyone else, I probably would have just sent it and punished their foolishness, but they seem nice. It's better than wet and hot. Half the year I go outside, you're guaranteed to get sweaty. And also, the sweat doesn't evaporate. And your carry gun has to be stainless. This is taken at my gun club swamp range. The different distances are at least separated by berms, so you can check targets a lot more easily though. Sharing space with ghetto dogs at a place that caters to the lowest common denominator to fleece them is not worth it. Eagle Sports Range near Chicago. I shoot passably well. Blacks want to see the gun that lets me shoot well. They can't shoot it well. I get to feel superior. Go during times when ROs are good guys. Getting undisclosed benefits from being a competent shooter who listens to the rules. Other times, get muzzled by a who stepped away from the line to load his Turk shit shotgun, which was loaded and pointed at the back of everyone at the range. Step away to tell the RO. Some retard kid who was looking down at his phone. I didn't see it. Pointed out when it happens a second time. Actually does something about it. Not to mention general greed. Used to have a dual membership with my dad. Pre-COVID, they'd politely ask to renew membership before changing the card. This decency went out the door once COVID hit, so they could charge people who would not be shooting given ammo prices at the time. Assholes lost all my business after that. That sucks. I usually have good experiences with ROs, especially the young ones, though my indoor range is staffed mostly by young vets, so they take safety seriously but still like to have fun. Recently, go to indoor range. Young vet bro chilling watching everyone. Not too busy of a day, so he's mostly watching me. Kneel down to open my rifle case with my shotgun in it. Open case. Barrel is pointed opposite of downrange. Monkey brain thinks for a minute. Could easily just pick it up and flip it. Smart monkey brain says no. Close the case, flip the whole case around, open, remove shotgun. Glances up at RO. He has a huge smile on his face and gives me a thumbs up. Literally looks like pick related. You have no idea how much I appreciate that. Hell yeah. The range is a little pricey, but staff make it worth it. They have a perfect balance of chill attitude and rigorous safety. Bring new shooter to indoor range. RSO is going through the rules. Absolutely no steel case. I've been going to this range for a while, and this is a new rule. New shooter turns to me and asks why no steel case. I tell them it's because they are too lazy to sort the steel from the brass when they go to sell it. RSO looks pissed and stutters that it's due to a fire risk. It's the same range where you risk your life going to since all the ghetto niggas stop by there. I've been flagged numerous times with loaded guns from niggers posing faux pictures. I feel kinda silly now. Go to range, shoot a bit. Decide to get my LTCC because my name is super common and screens are taking too long. Go shoot with the dude at the range he works at. He asks if I'm gonna pick up that brass. Something small that will make me a customer for life. Boomer brass goblins exist at my range, always hovering around looking for brass. Just find somewhere in the desert or woods. It's worth the drive. Oy vey, Anon. You gonna use that brass, are ya? Huh? It's on the floor. Technically, it's not yours anymore. I was at this range first 3,000 years ago. If you want to be difficult, I can litigate. 6 million rounds of ammunition and you're gonna fuss over one piece of brass? Nobody is even going to miss a handful of brass. I'll just take this bucket of brass now. I'll see you in court. The Hebrew handloader strikes again. Found a cool outdoor range. As in the range itself is cool, not the faggot members. Has a rolling yearly lottery for who can get in. Or if your family is someone already in. And they're only open like one day a month. And they only let new people in one day a year. What's the point? Be me, Wagey. Solve the same problem by getting a membership for $20 a month. Reload calibers other than 9mm in my free time. Double up on ears. Sucks a fat one compared to the 2010s ammo prices and having non-RO state park ranges back where I used to live. But you can make things bearable with a bit of work. James will bring his .454 and .308 battle rifle to the indoor range to make it worse. What you gonna do about it, faggot? My range now. I drive 45 minutes out of town to go to the gun club I paid $100 a year for. It's worth it. How weren't soldiers always hungry? A normal adult male must be burning 5,000 to 6,000 calories per day fighting or marching. God-tier logistics if you were the US, Lend-Lease if you were the UK or her colonies. As for everyone else, lol, Lamau. In the French Foreign Legion, one of their preferred profiles is the skinny cat. They say it's a 130-pound dude that can carry 100 pounds on his back and walk for hours with no food, just driven by the will to do bad things. T. Frog. Cardio is what makes tier 1. You want someone who can hike for 30 miles, fuck shit up, and then hike back like it's a day at the office. That's what the US military thought before GWAT. Cardio uber alles. They learned lifting mattered too. It was part of the ballistics plus gym science explosion during the millennials' youth. At the time, lifting was considered D-class and running was uber alles. We now know that was BS, which is why I say swimmers make the best operators. They are lean, high-endurance, swim like fish, and are strong. That also fits with the old mindset though. Swimming is objectively the best cardio and high-effort sprinting is a distant second. Combine swimming with even more cursory lifting strength regimen and you get the real kings. They are. Modern rations supply about 5,000 calories a day, which is also about the max which can be productively metabolized and the level a soldier in the field spends. The result is 3 classic military looks. Keto lean when on long deployments, slightly pudgy when on desk jobs, gym fit for the rest of the time. They were. IIRC, the Japs in World War II invaded Burma and Nam and shit in large part to get more rice flowing for the troops. Logistics is important. Food is heavy and used to be scarce for large parts of the world. Hell, many armies back in the day lived off the land because of this, which in reality meant acquiring food from locals, be it your territory or not. Also, why scorched earth was a real tactic. If you can't haul supplies away during a retreat, it's better to burn everything to starve the enemy. Don't ask Armor what they did for the Spanish-American War. Well, fuck you. Now I have to go and read about the army beef scandal. Just read about that. Seems quintessentially late 19th century that they would be attempting to preserve beef with formaldehyde. I've never trusted my life more to any firearm more than my M9. It is the most accurate pistol I've owned by far. Easy enough to carry, feeds more reliably than a cow, eats cheap 9mm budget ammo like a pig eats slop, and doesn't give a shit if it's dirty or clean, as long as it has some oil. I'd sooner grab this gun than my shotgun or AK for home defense. That's how deeply I trust it. It's also far more maneuverable. Recoil is comically insignificant, and I would trust this gun with 2 mags to get me out of any situation possible. Though I don't carry a spare mag, except in the truck, because it's already such a capable piece without one. I'm wholly convinced that no better firearm exists for the common man than the M9, at least not when it comes to personal protection. I really like the 92 FS too. It's a super comfy firearm. It's also my main handgun. That being said, at the end of the day, it's just a pistol though. No need to be overly autistic about it. The original 92 FS doesn't have a replaceable dovetailed front sight though, which is a bummer. But yeah, other than that, I see no issues with it. 92 is my second choice for a handgun. The fact that it's reliable and aesthetic is rare these days. Seems like we're trading one for the other. Looking specifically at HK pistols. Second choice for a handgun? Mine too. Dan Wesson and 44 first. Power, then capacity for backup. Nice blog, wordy motherfucker. How do you like the compact Berettas? Compact HK pistols feel identical to their full-size counterparts, and that's appealing to me. What's the Cheetah like? Compact Berettas? I don't have one. Mine is a 92 FS. I've passed on compact Berettas I shouldn't have. The 92 compact is just a 92 but smaller. It still has a 4.25-inch barrel, so it doesn't recoil that bad. The Beretta PX4 compact is the best double-action single-action ever made. I have my grandpa's old 32 ACP Puma as a pocket gun. And for being a compact pistol, it feels pretty ergonomic in my massive hands. It's been used in a couple of defensive shootings, one with Gramps and one with Pops, and I fully trust it when it's my turn. Partly because she's 2-0, and partly because I have a TSOS 1911A1 Repro with 17 Hornady CD hollow points ready to go if 832 hollow points aren't enough. I want to put a dumb brick-shaped laser and/or light on my M9, but can't find one that matches the look I want. Retro lights are unobtainium for the 92, plus you need an adapter. The one good metal adapter, Surefire MR1 or something, is $300 if you can find one. Easy Rail makes a good polymer one, the same style. The TLR9 is sufficiently blocky. Handguns can never replace rifles. Pistols have inherently lower accuracy than rifles, and even if they didn't, rifles are more stable and it is easier to get shots on target with them. Any advantages they win with maneuverability are largely nullified by the fact that people aren't getting into gunfights inside porta potties. I bought one of the M1951-1975 productions ages ago, and have yet to get around to actually taking it out. Does anyone have one of these? I think you have a responsibility to take it shooting and tell the world about it, Anon. That's a cool find. I have one. These have a design where the locking block will break first to protect the other components. If you plan to shoot it a lot, then go ahead and buy a backup for when it inevitably happens. Supposedly, the 1975 productions fix or mitigate this flaw.
You've got me acting just like a loony, it must be love. We love crazy people, crazy people. Crazy people like me go crazy over people like you.